All I need is a smooth beat, just a piano and a kick and a snare, and it's a wrap. What's good? It's Osiris Middle Maga, and I'm excited about this live. We got Neuralink. This is a topic that is near and dear to my, I guess you could say, brain. And Taco came in early, 10:27. Taco in the chat says, Mark of the Beast's prototype framework. So what we're going to do today is just talk about the news of the Neuralink throughout the call for anyone who wants to volunteer. There's some qualifications to get a chip. I mean, basically a computer. At this point, it's more like a Fitbit, like a upgraded Fitbit type of thing to be put in your brain. But you know what? Once you cut the skull, the hole in the skull, then you can just easily upgrade. But we're going to talk about that. Who's eligible? Who's going to get that? Are you going to get that? Taco came in talking about the mark of the beast. So before we go into the details of Neuralink human trials commencing, this is a huge announcement. This is something that in the history books we will be looking at. Probably not this date. It'll be the actual date that the surgery goes through. But, and I really hope that that goes well. That's going to be a big day. But it's not going to be this date. It's probably going to be that date the surgery comes through is where history books will tell it. But we're living in the book right now. We know it's upcoming. So we'll talk about it. Let's go to the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is where Taco wanted to start it. And I'm good with that. Because I think that's a good place to start before we dig into the details further. As you can see, speaking of digging, I cleaned out behind the bed and I got something that I haven't got out in a minute. It's been a while. And I got out my math hat. Math. Make America Think Harder. From the Yang Gang 2020, the epic run. The first time I ever gave money to a politician. I was like, you know what? I still like the concept. Even though Yang has been proven to be, let's just say, itch made. I still like the concept. Cyan came in. Cyan says, channel member, friend of show, of course, says, biblically is described as being located on the hand, forehead, or the name of the beast. That's where they get the 666 from, if you've ever heard that. So I went to ChatGPT, said, like, tell me about the mark of the beast. What do you got on it? Give me an outline. Let's look at this before we go into the Neuralink story. You know the headline. We'll get into some details, but you know the basic headline already. So this is, I asked it to say, hey, give me some information on the mark of the beast. Introducing the concept of the mark of the beast as a symbol that has captured imaginations or nightmares, has stirred debates for centuries. Historical context. The origin of the term from the book of Revelation in the New Testament. Describe the narrative in which the mark is introduced and its association with the number 666. Before I continue, do you believe that Neuralink is the mark of the beast? Actually, Cyan, from your comment, I don't think you, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I'm not sure if you're saying that it is. I think there are some things that fit. I will tell you this about Neuralink, and I think it will either be an A or an F. So we're going to talk about the details. I'll go a little bit more into the mark of the beast. We'll talk about the details of Neuralink, and then we're going to do a round robin and hitting some of these, just some stories I had saved up, but looking at it through the lens of if Neuralink was active, if a lot of people had Neuralink, how would these stories play out differently? I'm telling you, this is the biggest white pill out there. For me, artificial intelligence, because you see I'm using, I every single day I'm talking about ChatGPT. And I'm not an expert in what it is. Some people say it's just a fancy Google search. I get it, but it feels more than that. And I compare it to other platforms like the Google Bard, I believe is how you, B-A-R-D, Baird, or Bard, I believe is what you pronounce it. I don't even know why it's called that. It's probably an acronym. But Google's not, they're not there. They just had an update yesterday, September 19th, and they're still not there. What's good? We're going to do that. So we're going to do the Neuralink, Mark of the Beast, Neuralink, round robin stories, and then we're going to end with Elon Musk in his own words. Clip, I've played some of these clips months back. When last time we talked about Neuralink was, it's probably been 8 months and or more, and it was an epic episode. I think this is the one where he got high on Joe Rogan because it's age restricted on YouTube. And Joe Rogan just brilliant. He got people in there. He gets them drinking. He gets them high, and then he gets them talking. And he got Elon talking, like I think real talk. So I don't know if Ray Studios that we talked about is Joe Rogan controlled op. I don't know if he is. I've accused him when he had that interview with Mark Zuckerberg. I did accuse him of being a controlled op, but I think it's more of I want access. That's not the same as being, well, it's similar, but it's not the same as being a controlled op, meaning I don't want to burn a bridge with Mark Zuckerberg. If you have him on the show, do you want to burn the bridge? I mean, for me, like I would have no problem burning that bridge, but I don't blame Joe Rogan in that realm. Lex Friedman had Yuval Harari on his show. Does he want to burn that bridge? He's had Mark Zuckerberg multiple times. If you're at that stage and you're interviewing these guys, maybe you don't want to burn that bridge. Well, you got to do your career. You got to do you. But I'm going to end with that one. Okay. Let's see who's in. Who's up this late? More like Macta. Okay. We got new gear. I haven't done any new gear. This is gear from the Middle MAGA store. You go to middlemaga.com store, MAGA Libertarian. But we might have a new gear idea that might have to be credited to Cyan. Let's see. Let's dive into this. More like MACTA. I kind of like it because the acronym MACTA, it rolls off the tongue. What does MACTA stand for? MACTA. Make America Critically Think Again. So you're kind of doing a little play off of MAGA and math. I like it. See, math goes well with MAGA. Make America Think Harder. Make America Great Again. I like mixing the both of them together. It's kind of like MAGA Libertarian. Andrew Yang, that was a hell. I'm going to have to do at some point a live reliving the Andrew Yang. Who else was Yang Gang? Cyan, were you Yang Gang? Who else was Yang Gang in here? I didn't really fully celebrate that because I did do some talks on it, but I didn't fully celebrate that presidential run because I was still more kind of in the matrix at that time. So yes, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Bark of the Beast. Let's see what ChatGPT, what the cat drug in with that. Let's see here. I'm gonna get into that in just a second. I want to set up my clips as well, and then we're gonna do the headliner, Neuralink human trials. I have a timeline of Neuralink, just going over the basic history. Who is Neuralink's biggest competitor? And we'll go into the stories. I got Ukraine is going to come up multiple times. Of course, it's hard to do a topic nowadays without the trans topic coming up. It's not going to be a focal point, but it's going to come up. Charlie Kirk went out on northern Arizona. I forget the school. Somewhere in Arizona. That's his home turf. He's in Arizona, so he rose on up. He faced up. Shout out to Charlie Kirk. He faced up. He showed some courage. He always shows courage. Let's take a look at Mark of the Beast, biblical reference. The primary reference to Mark of the Beast can be found in Revelations chapter 13, verses 16 through 18. The passage describes a future scenario where a beast, often interpreted as a powerful and malevolent entity or leader, forces all people, regardless of their social or economic status, to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. This is what Cyan was talking about. This mark is a sign of allegiance to the beast, and without it, individuals would not be able to buy or sell. I'm not going to maybe I am not, I do not proclaim to be the most knowledgeable on any type of theology, biblical issues or anything I do. I am God fearing, Christ is king, but that doesn't mean I'm knowledgeable in what I'm talking about. But the way I interpret this is I don't really interpret this literally. Am I off there? And I think Carlos would be like, yeah, I think you should. But when they said receive a mark on their right hand or forehead, like, am I gonna parse out the forehead versus the back of the skull? Like, I mean, you could literally be 5 inches away, and there's a mark because you had surgery where you got your skull cut out. Now, I'm not saying it's the mark of the beast. I'm just thinking through it right now. I think it's actually the tool of the revolution. So I probably don't think it's the mark of the beast. But let's talk. I mean, if you don't know about it, I'm not going to be up here like Brianna Wu. If you don't fully know the concept of the mark of the beast, then I'm not going to. Even though my take is is away from this, I'm not going to definitively say it's not the mark of the beast when I don't know the mark of the beast. That gets you into really hairy situations when you start to be arrogant or confident in areas you don't know. The same passage in Revelation identifies the mark as the number of the beast, which is 666. This number has become synonymous with evil in popular culture and has been the subject of various interpretations. Some view it symbolically, representing imperfection or incompleteness, while others have sought more literal interpretations, trying to link it to specific historical figures or events. What is the relationships between the mark of the beast and the devil? So let me ask ChatGPT, what is there any relationship between the beast and the devil? So let's see what it says. I could probably just go to the chat. Y'all probably know, but let me just do this in real time, and then we'll get to the Neuralink. This is a great place to start. Thank you, Taco. I had not planned on starting this way, but the mark of the beast is intrinsically linked to the devil. Okay, so it is. In the book of Revelation, two primary and antagonistic figures emerge, the beast and the dragon. The dragon is explicitly identified as Satan or the devil. The beast, on the other hand, is a figure that rises from the sea and is given power by the dragon. The beast is often interpreted as a political or religious leader. That's what we just talked about. The mark's purpose, the beast, with the authority of the dragon, imposes the mark. So that's the answer I needed there. But take a look at this. The mark serves, and is that where that term, the slang mark, came from? You know how like back West Coast slang would be like that mark, that fool. I always thought it was like mark, like a target. Allegiance, the mark signifies loyalty, as we said, economic control. So the mark signifies loyalty and allegiance to the beast, and by extension, the devil. And I said I had a different take on this Elon Musk, but he dressed up as a devil. I'm not saying there's any link to it, but since we're bringing it up, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. It's pertinent to the conversation. Elon Musk dresses up as devil's champion for New York Halloween party. It feels like yesterday we were just talking about this when he was buying Twitter at the time. He's dressed up looking like a devil. I guess that doesn't help my argument that it's not the mark of the beast. Let's just say that. It doesn't help my argument. So let's look at the economic control. Those without the mark are unable to buy or sell. Whoa. I feel like that gif from the black dude from The Wire. You know that gif where he's like, let me get back. That gif where he's like, I forgot that black dude, not what's his name, not the famous dude, but the other black dude from The Wire. I haven't seen The Wire in a while. What a great show. But he was like, Let me read that one more once. It says, nothing like getting red pilled in real time, in real life, live in front of everyone who's watching, all three of you, getting red pilled in real time. I'm already red pilled, so getting deeper brick red pilled. Those without the mark are unable to buy or sell, giving the beast control over the world's economic systems. Makes you say, I'm not exactly doing well so far. Am I gonna have to? I'm not changing my take yet, but as you can see, I'm out here getting educated. Spiritual consequences. Accepting the mark has internal, and my take is you have to accept this mark. Is it the beast or not? I don't know, but I could be wrong. But I think you're gonna have to. Otherwise, you may not have the mark of the beast, but you're gonna be like a wild animal compared to the rest of humanity. Accepting the mark has eternal implications. Revelation chapter 14, verses 9 to 11 warns of God's wrath upon those who take the mark. So that's a moment to think about. And it doesn't say, because the first people doing the trials of Neuralink, they're going to be paraplegics or, paralyzed people, Alzheimer's, all that kind of stuff, where it's like, yeah, let's do it. I don't want to say you have little to risk, but it's like the risk reward is a different scenario than a healthy young person. I don't think that, I don't know the verses, but I don't think that there's a carve out for if you're suffering from Alzheimer's. But we'll see. Symbolism. While the beast and the mark are literal figures and symbols in the book of Revelation, they also carry symbolic weight. The beast's alliance with the devil underscores the battle between good and evil, God and Satan. The mark in this context represents the ultimate choice humans must make between following God or succumbing to the devil's influence. It's a hell of a decision. With that in mind, let's go to the news. With that context in mind, and I'll just drop off, check the chat real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. Somebody tell me what they think. Do you think it is the mark? Is it the mark or is it not the mark? Is it completely unrelated? Obviously, there's some type of correlation here. When I'm reading about the mark of the beast and I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's interesting. So there's obviously some type of, I'm not saying that it is, but there's some type of connection that could be made. Obviously based on simply my reaction. You can see that. So I might say there's not, but it looks like there is. Let's take a look at the news here. So I summarized it, did a little timeline of it. This is the headline that I saw, and eye-opening. We knew it was going to come, but Elon Musk's Neuralink is now recruiting for its first human clinical trial, aiming to implant chips in the brains of paralysis patients. Like anything that's happening, like if you want to destroy Western culture, you wouldn't call it destroying Western culture, you would call it saving democracy. If you want to launder money and send it over to another country and clean it and wash it and get broke off while China rises up and you think America's on the way down, you would say, hey, we have to save Ukraine. You wouldn't say, hey, I'm getting money while this ship is about to sink. So Neuralink is not going to say, if Elon Musk wants the power to control, to hand it over to the WEF or whatever he wants to do, he wouldn't say that, obviously. He wouldn't say that that's a concern. He would just try to say, hey, we're trying to get people to see again, blind people who might have neurological issues to see again, people who can't walk specifically because they have a neurological issue. We can fix those wirings in your brain. And pretty soon they'll be able to say, do you want to be in a happy mood today? You'll be in a happy mood no matter what. Context, or a sad mood or an angry mood. Context, Neuralink a biotechnology startup founded by Elon Musk, has been at the forefront of brain-computer interface technology. This is transhumanism. My definition of transhumanism is just, again, my wife really gets pissed off when I make up my own definitions. That's where we're at. I make up my own definitions, and you can take it or leave it, but this is what I mean by it, is the advancement of technology without limits. That's it. And when I try to come up with definitions, the more concise, the better. Transhumanism is the advancement of technology without limits. Period. So that means, naturally, as technology advances, why would I be interfacing with ChatGPT like this? Oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. Why would I be, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Why would I be interfacing with ChatGPT like this? This is clumsy. There's latency here. I'm having to think in my brain, put my hand down on the mouse, look up at the screen, scroll up. Is this the right one or is that the right one? When you have it in your brain, it will be boop, 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 boop. It'll be happening in nanoseconds, potentially at some point. Not right away. You're not going to have ChatGPT right away, but these people right here, they could be at the forefront. They could be at the forefront, depending on how old they are. Because once you get it in the brain, you could just get updates. So this technology is exciting. It can be scary. I think it is going to be a tool not to be scary, but to be excited about. And it's revolutionary technology, which it is revolutionary. I would describe it as such. Seeks to allow humans to connect directly with computers through implanted devices. Recently, Neuralink announced the commencement of its first human clinical trial. And if you go to Neuralink on the X platform, they've got some interesting stuff on their feed. Obviously, they're trying to make it look transparent and still positive, and they're doing a good job of that. They're doing as good of a job as you could. If you take a look at it, here's a video. And if you don't know what's happening here, this gives you the basic rundown. What you're going to see here in this video is a man. So right now they are practicing this thing on realistic patient-specific head and brain models. This is via Neuralink on X, ensuring surgeries are tailored to each individual for safety and success. So they're able to practice with these. So it's going to be done by a robot. You kind of sit in a chair, lay down or whatever, and the robot cuts a hole in your skull, takes this piece of the skull out. The skull's pretty thick. And then it knows where to put the chip to get wired into I don't even know the right term for them, but the brain wires, the wires in your brain. And here you go. This is one of the scientists, I guess. And the model has a head. It's a head model. There's a little thing on the skull. He opens it up. That's where the cut would be, circle. And this is not real. This is a fake one that they practice on YouTube. This is for educational purposes. It actually is. And there's a brain. Does the brain beat like that? I didn't know that. Does the brain beat like a heart? People's brains pulse slightly as the heart beats. Wow. No, I never knew that. It does not beat like a heart. However, it does pulse slightly. That looked like more than a slight pulse in that little model. But they have to, you have to emulate. That looked like a big pulse to me. Does anybody think Elon Musk already has one of those in his brain? He might be crazy enough to be the first one. Cyan says, if you accept the mark, you will be condemned and abandoned by God as you are sent to hell. There you go. For your example, it could be the forehead counterpart, while the already existing RDIF chip that's placed in the hand for the other. Yep. And people are already doing the chip in the hand. So I think if you wanna argue that this is the mark of the beast, let me tell you this: I ain't arguing against you. I'm just still make my case and hope for the best, but I'm not gonna argue against you. You got a lot of evidence to economic control, social control. I mean, it feels pretty much spelled out in the Bible from what I was reading there. So I might have to adjust my take in a minute, but I think what that signifies is the risk. Oh, I fully acknowledge the risk. Never denied that. Let's look at the timeline. Well, let's look at the timeline here. July 2019, neurosurgeon Matthew McDougall was brought on board to assist. So looking forward, they built this surgical robot in August of 2020. 2020, heck of a year. It was introduced during the company presentation. In this famous presentation, a Neuralink brain chip was successfully demonstrated in a pig, as reported by CNET on August 29th, 2020. And I have a live where I'm talking about this thing. It was a big to do. It was a big deal. And then you fast forward, they did it in the, I don't know if if the right term is a monkey or orangutan or whatever it was. It was a primate. They put a chip in the primate, and the primate was playing a video game by itself with its brain. You remember this? If not, let's look at this refresher. Somebody said Neuralink is incredible. Rundown AI on X says that. And we are watching right now. There's no sound here. We are watching right
As
now.
you can see,
Oh, here it is.
Pager is amazingly
Sorry,
good.
there is a narration. Let's bring it back. Monkey here.
As you can see, Pager is amazingly good at mind pong. He's focused, and he's playing entirely of his own volition. It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical.
Let's watch that again.
As you can see, Pager is amazingly good at mind pong. He's focused, and he's playing entirely of his own volition.
So what's so
It's not
special of
magic.
this?
The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical.
What's special about this is that the monkey is not using anything other than its brain to play this simple game of Pong. I actually grew up playing that Pong game. Had one of those old, I think it was Atari or Commodore 64, one or computer too. I grew up, that was a cool game back in the day. But it's playing it with its brain. I don't know if it's not Bluetooth, is it? It's got, I think it's, I don't know how it's connected. I forgot that story. I did that story months ago, or over a year ago, probably years ago at this point. That was February 2021. So we're looking at over 2 years ago now. Wow. That's crazy. I did a whole segment on that. That's actually when I changed my background on the show too. Still have the same background I changed to at that time. Here, Word the Watchful says, I don't trust Musk. Every business venture he has supports using rare earth minerals that China, for the most part, controls. Then there's his no freedom reach comment. I absolutely do not trust Elon Musk. And back when this video came out, I don't know if I would have said I trust Elon Musk, but I would have had a much more positive view as far as trusting him than I do now. Absolutely. And you hire in people from at least your CEO from the World Economic Forum, it goes towards China. There's a relationship there. And if they're going to be the world power, then Elon Musk is smart. He's like, I got my companies over there. I work with them already. I don't have any beef. I mean, they have had some tension, but that's going to happen. But overall, he doesn't have any beef with them. They're not like trying to kick him out of the country. No, they wouldn't want to do that because he's so powerful. And they probably would want him to close up shop all in America and just go straight up over there. So there's beef, but Elon has leverage. And what I'm saying is, I'm going towards Hayward's comment. I agree with you. He has too much tied into China. The people that he's banned from the X platform are all anti-China for the most part. I mean, the ones that I follow, like Bannon and others, and Alex Jones. So not anti-China, but the CCP specifically. So no, there's no reason to trust Elon Musk. I still admire him, but there's no reason to just flat out trust somebody that's not worthy of the trust. Then there's the freedom of reach. Yeah, that's a comment when that's a hell of a commentary on the First Amendment. And then now he's turned the First Amendment into a video game. There are people we see people on the X platform now. What they do is, and I've been in these spaces, what they do is they open up the space and they talk about how to gamify the algorithm, because it's just a video game. That's all X is a video game. It's a free speech video game. And you'll go into the app and you'll see people talking about it all the time. And I listen, nothing against them. I don't blame them. If that's the game that we're playing, then you might as well learn how to play it. And I don't talk much in those spaces, but I'm in there listening to them. And I I use the platform a lot. So there's actually not that much in there that's new or shocking to me, but it's still good to hear it. And here's, like, for example, here's one of them. X monetization strategy session. This is free speech. This is the public square, not by my words, by Elon Musk. He used those words about X. Linda Yaccarino called it the global public square, town square. In the town square, they're the best of the best people using this platform. Like, it's not just a video game to play like it's Contra, like it's Metroid, like it's Mega Man. This is a video game for the civil war that we're in. We're in some type of global World War III. We're in a civil war in America and a revolutionary war in America. All of it being fought with ideas and policies and words. So this video game that I'm talking about is one of the big battlefields of that war. If it didn't matter, why would they demonetize Russell Brand? So they're in the chat talking about X monetization strategy session. That is, what would James Madison say right now if you took that bro took him right up out of the ground and said, here you are. The year is 2023. Free speech, the town squares that you see like on Main Street, those small, cute little town squares in little, cities like Ann Arbor or other cities you might go. What do you see there? Nobody. That's what the town square was. It was literally the town square. So you would have all those small little quaint towns, or they're really nice places to go now. You got those little boutique type shops. A lot of the little cities have little town square centers, especially nicer ones. And they have these nice little unique boutique stores that are kind of cool because you can get clothes or little trinkets and stuff like that you couldn't get elsewhere. You go to Boulder, Colorado, you got them. You go to any college campus, you got them. Now, on the college campuses, maybe there's still some soap boxes that go on. But outside of college campuses, the town square was the town square. You would go to the town square and you would be spitting your Bible verses or whatever, and somebody would spit back, we don't like it, and that was free speech. That's not relevant anymore. People don't touch grass anymore, much less go to the town square. This is the town square. So it would be like the town square and everybody talking about, how do I get more power and reach on the town square? X monetization strategy session. So it's not even just that. It's not even just that it's the town square. It's also that it's the town square, and that if you get your voice amplified in the right way with the right narrative, you can make money. So we're in the middle of warfare, and if I kind of change my profile, maybe I don't use an N-bomb, not hard ER, but Maybe I don't call Jerry Nadler a nigga because why would I do that? People ask me because I can. That's why. Because you can't stop me. That's why. But well, maybe you're like, oh, don't do that. Just put an asterisk in it, or don't even use that type of language, or don't criticize Jerry Nadler. I might know he looks like a Batman villain waddling down the street, but don't say that because then that could get you marked as lawful but awful, and you won't make as much money. So on top of that, the people who adhere to the policy, it basically sounds like the mark of the beast, doesn't it? Uh, this is that awkward moment when you're like, that awkward moment when you're like, do I need to rethink my take? I do need to rethink my take. I'm not going to change it. That mark of the beast, man, Taco, you really started off. I mean, we've talked about that before, but I haven't jumped into it like that in depth. I mean, everything I'm talking about fits exactly with the mark of the beast. Let's just be honest. Like what I just read, it's just exact. But I think the other thing before I finish off on this topic, the other thing is I think the devil isn't, I talked about this with Carlos. We recorded a show on friend of the show, Patriots of American Republic. We recorded a show and we're talking about the devil. And he was like, yeah, the devil's not some dude on the throne in hell that just sits there. The devil can present itself as an angel. The devil can present, I believe the devil's a fallen angel, right? The devil can present itself like a lowercase God. The devil can present itself as a beautiful whatever you feel is beautiful. And that's what it would. So this could either be the greatest thing ever or it could be the mark of the beast. Because all that chip in the brain is just integrating X in your head. How about that? How comfortable do you feel with that? How comfortable do you feel with Linda Yaccarino, an active member of the Future of Work in the World, Globalization of Work on the World Economic Forum, active still to this day, last I checked. Active member, CEO of Twitter, about her controlling X while you have the chip in your brain from a guy who owns both. The only reason the companies aren't all together is because of appearance. It just wouldn't look good. But basically, Elon Musk is controlling one company that just rules everything, from chips in your brain to transportation, electric transportation that can be controlled, that can be shut off. Elon Musk can shut off. If you have a Tesla, Elon Musk can shut it off via VIN. There's a dude called Rich Rebuilds that has a wonderful YouTube channel. Hilarious dude, man. Just one of those great creators. And he rebuilt a Tesla. And Elon Musk didn't like it. And what it is I can understand there's some safety issues. If you have a Tesla that's water damaged and the battery's damaged and some random dude goes in there and fixes it, and then he goes to a supercharger, then the thing blows up. Now you're going to point fingers at Elon Musk. So there is some legitimacy here, but he rebuilt from scratch, rebuilt a Tesla. Then he went to the supercharger. The Tesla's working fine. Just an amazing channel. But then somehow, his channel blew up. Elon found out, basically Tesla found out, and they cut off his supercharging abilities. So he can't go to a supercharger. I don't know what the update is. This is from years ago. And then Elon Musk cut off his reward system where he was getting rewards for having people sign up and buy Teslas from him. So Elon Musk could shut off your Tesla. Now you've got internet, Starlink. Elon Musk could shut off your internet. So what happens? You piss him off on you go ahead and piss off Elon Musk on X. The chip in your brain turns you into a literal monkey. It turns you into what? It turns you into a giraffe. Elon Musk could be like, I want that nigga to think he's a giraffe. Put that nigga in timeout. 2 minutes. Have that nigga freeze up like Mitch McConnell and just be there like, oh, what happened? Oh man, I pissed off Elon Musk earlier today. That's all it was. And then he could have that power. I'm not even getting into everything, the solar panels as well. Boring Company as well, SpaceX as well. We just keep on going. It's really all one company. It's really just for accounting purposes that you break it up. And for governmental, it doesn't look as much as a monopoly when you break it up. This dude, and even OpenAI, ChatGPT, I believe Elon Musk founded that, was one of the founders. Elon Musk, the ChatGPT that I use all the time, that I've been praising. He left over beef, but Elon Musk is a co-founder of OpenAI that developed ChatGPT. Elon Musk is more powerful than most countries in this world, him by himself, because the value he brings to the table is what makes those companies valuable. You take Elon Musk out of the equation, they're not as valuable. Tesla's not as exciting. Neuralink is not as exciting. You're going to see people go on. It's not even, it's even more of a drop off than you got when you went to Cook, from Jobs to Cook, Steve Jobs to Tim Cook. Tim Cook, I mean, he's like a average player in the NBA or something like that, on a great team, a monster of a team. Steve Jobs was like Michael Jordan. Elon Musk is like a Michael Jordan. You can't take him off a team and then say, "Oh, we're still going to be great." It ain't going to happen. So that's one of those few things I disagree. I didn't want to. I had Dr. Shiva Adore on. We disagree on Elon Musk slightly, not totally, but that wasn't the point of me having him on. So I didn't want to sidetrack into that. But maybe one time we'll be able to chat about that. Just on that or something like that. But he's running for president. I want him to get his shine. But yeah, that's the First Amendment, It's literally a video game in 2023. I guess it might behoove us to learn how to play, because I ain't changing anytime soon. My views on the First Amendment are now considered radical, so that ain't changing. So that's the timeline here that brings us all the way up to human trials. Background: Neuralink's journey has been marked by both significant achievements and challenges. While the company has made strides in animal testing, it has also faced some scrutiny, especially after a test in 2022. This is not going to be comforting. Resulted in the death of a monkey. So when I said that you're going to have to get Neuralink, I didn't say you had to be first. Walter Isaacson's book, this new book that came out. Oh, wait, is this an old book? I gotta double check that. Book on Neuralink highlights that Musk's inspiration for the company. I've not read the new book yet. Everybody's talking about it. I gotta read it because everybody in the Elon Musk Tesla circles are talking about it. In a funny way, I don't know why the Amber Heard story is like Elon Musk has done so many great things. What is something wrong with me? Maybe I need Neuralink to get right. To just like drinking coffee at night, getting hyped to do YouTube lives at night, wearing sweaters that say MAGA Libertarian. Maybe I need a Neuralink. And the most exciting thing, the thing I'm most excited about for the Elon Musk book, believe it or not, I'm not excited, but the thing that's top of my mind is the Amber Heard. Like, I want to know about that. I don't even talk about Amber Heard that much. I didn't even get into the Amber Heard controversy or anything. Why is that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my life live on YouTube. That's all. Taco, yeah, yeah. Taco's like, damn. Wait, what did I miss? Hey, Taco, appreciate you. Yeah, it's that simple. You can spark a whole thing. It is that simple. Taco joined. Thank you. I believe I don't even know if Taco's male or female. Doesn't matter. Taco, thank you. They, them? No, I'm just joking. Taco, thank you. Taco's like, damn, I joined late. What'd I miss? And then the next one, Taco's like, hey, yo, I started this topic. Awesome. You started the whole thing off. Taco came in the chat at 10:30 and said, Mark of the Beast, something about Mark of the Beast. I'm like, that's a pertinent place to kind of cover. That's a pertinent topic. Sounds like he thoroughly covered your Taco. He covered your topic in detail. Male, my pronouns are Your Majesty. You must affirm. Your Majesty. I'm good with those terms. See, that's a good example. Taco, got no beef with you. Got respect. Your pronouns are Your Majesty. I say yes, sir. But yeah, you did spark it off. Appreciate it. Concerns. The FDA's initial rejection of Neuralink's bid for human trials raised concerns about safety, including potential migration of implant parts within the brain and possible brain tissue damage upon removal. So, part of this whole thing is you get it in there. What if you don't like how it feels? What if you don't like something? What if it doesn't work right? You know, every time you get an update on any program, any software, there are glitches. It's impossible to have it perfect. What if there's an update that didn't work out so well? And you're like, you know what? I don't want the mark of the beast anymore. You're going to have to be able to, Neuralink has to be able to remove it without damaging people. Reports have also, what's the insurance that they're running? I'd like to know what their insurance bill is. Reports have also suggested that Neuralink might be hastening its product releases, leading to allegations of hasty animal testing and subsequent investigations. Yeah, you're racing against competition. There is competition. I looked this up. I'm not familiar with this company. I believe is this Bill Gates? It's one of the, let me see here. Psychron is the competition. It was founded by Associate Professors Thomas Oxley. Sounds very familiar, maybe because I read this before. They established the company with the claim to develop, was there a bill called Oxley? To aim to develop and commercialize neural bionics. I don't know who owns it, but I thought there was one where Bezos or one of them owned it. I'll have to look that up. Psychron has been framed as a direct competitor. Anything in any walk of life, we need competition. So we don't need Elon Musk to win this battle and be the only one out here. Even Tesla, as much as I like Teslas, we need competition. So, while Neuralink has been the spotlight, Psychron has also made significant strides in the brain-computer interface field. Psychron's approach is notable for its endovascular brain-computer surface interface, which doesn't require invasive open brain surgery. How does that work? What is endovascular? Is that through the blood? I mean, vascular is blood. Endovascular is less invasive procedure used to treat problems affecting the blood vessels, such as an aneurysm. I'll have to look that up. It's vascular surgery. Either way, it seems dangerous. But that'd be interesting. Is that considered a mark? I don't know. So that's the competition. Let's take a trip across the story platform. I know you're joking. Taco said joking. I don't do that pronoun BS. Yeah. I'm just playing with you. Let's take a look. Let's take a trip around. A lot of different stories going on, and I want to look at them through the lens. That's kind of the angle I'm going to take with this. Let's look at these stories through the lens of basically Neuralink. What if you could do Neuralink and you could basically have the ability to kind of, you can kind of do this with ChatGPT. You could copy somebody's speech and say, here's my take on Neuralink. I want to hype people up for Neuralink. Take my opinion on, you can already do that now. Take my opinion on Neuralink and put it in the style of this great motivator. One of the great motivators, believe it or not, right now, well, you should be able to believe it if you followed his career. One of the great motivators right now that people are flocking to, a man that has come up as a leader through football. I watched him play I've watched him play. I remember him when he was on Atlanta. One of my favorite players of all time. And now he's coaching. He's coaching right down the street from me right now. That's Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is a special motivator. He's a special leader. And let me just play a little clip of Deion Sanders' speech here, and we'll look at it through the lens of Neuralink.
First and foremost, it wouldn't be possible without my man Rick. When I tell you, he is the man, and God called him strategically to reach out to me to make this happen. He didn't convince me. He confirmed to me that this was the place. It wasn't about a bag. I got that. It was all about opportunity to do something that hadn't been done in quite some time. And Rick, I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, my man. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you.
Love you too.
For investing in me. I appreciate it. Now let's get to business. You know, at Jackson State, we got out to believe. I'm still gonna believe because I've been believing ever since I was a shorty. When I told my mother at the age of 7, I was gonna make a lot of money, I was gonna be rich, and she was gonna never have to work for another day of her life. And my actions lined up with that belief. And I had to stop believing. And I have a problem when young men with everything in front of them don't believe. That's a problem for me. Tremendous problem. Because you can rescue your mama, you can rescue your father, your friends, your loved ones, the homies, anybody who's looked out for you. You have.
And that was a speech. I believe that's when he first got the position. He would later on tell that group of young men that I don't need you, and turned over the whole roster. Here's the speech before they won their first game. I think this is the pregame speech. They said pregame and halftime before they shocked the world. And this is what the reason why I'm bringing this up in the context of Neuralink. You could say, hey, what is describe the characteristics of this speech to me? And hey, I want to do a speech that's similar like that, but tweak it because I like this, I don't like that. Let's take a look here. Is it not playing?
We don't know nothing about that. Knock your shit.
We ain't got tomorrow. We got now. We ain't got next. We got now. We ain't coming no more. Since y'all know we here, give me my theme music.
Use them, God. Use them, God. Use them.
This is some special stuff right here. Let me fast forward.
Everybody up. Let's come on the back side. Let's go out there. Let's get loose. Let's not come out flat. That was the appetizer. Now anybody get the meal.
Yes, sir.
That was the appetizer. And the only way they end this darn game is we let them. 2 turnovers. We're not going to beat ourselves. We're not going to beat ourselves. We're going to beat them. They just saw the appetizer. You was a little apprehensive. You really didn't know what we had. You really didn't believe. But now you should. You should understand what we got. Everything we need is right in this locker room and right next to it.
Yes, sir.
And it's on you to make up your mind how you want this story written. It's a pen in every darn locker. How are you going to write this story? Let's go out there and be dominant, fellas. I believe your offense going to get the ball, and they're going to go down and score. Defense going to go back, 3 and out. We're going to get a good punt return, and we're going to contend to beat the brakes off these young men. But we're going to do it with class and dignity. No more stupid penalties. We got that?
Yes, sir.
Touch the person next to you and look at him and say, I believe. I believe. Let's go work.
I believe.
He's a special type of leader. You can go on. He's got a ton of great speeches. I actually didn't know how good he was until recently. I always thought he was charismatic. He's a flamboyant when he was younger. But how about this? The friend of show, Steven Ignoramus. So he did a super chat on Nick Fuentes' show. and Nick read the superset. It was a large superset, $250. But it brought up an interesting discussion about the Anthony Oliver, and more bigger than that, just Nick saying, "Hey, I don't really mind being snobbish."
I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe.
Steven Ignoramus sent $250. Been watching since Stop the Steal. Just tossing in a little back pay, more to come. Planning to be at the next donor dinner, whenever that is. I saw Oliver Anthony play a music festival on Sunday. It was about as expected. We need white excellence, not whatever you call that. Thanks for doing what you do, Nick. God bless. Christ is King.
Hey, thank you very much for the big super chat. I really appreciate you coming in with that message, because it's like, here's a rich guy with money who says, here's a big super chat and I'll be a donor, and he's agreeing with me. That is a total vindication of my strategy. That is a total vindication of my message and what I'm promoting. To hear that, I appreciate the cavalry coming in here, because I've been saying this and I'm like, where are all the like civilized people that want to live in a real civilization? Where are the rich people that want to live in a rich society where people dress nice and it's classy? Like, I mean, I don't find that scene charming. Some people think it's very charming. I don't. The sights, the sound.
So to give you the context of this, Nick has been very frequently, he's been going hard at Oliver Anthony. He's been going hard at him. And what he's talking about is Nick is not a populist. He's never been one. And what he's seeing is he's getting a lot of populist type of vibes from people who like Oliver Anthony. And he's saying, wait a second, I'm for excellence. That's an interesting take, isn't it? I'm a populist. I don't agree with Nick on that, but he makes you think. What he's saying is I stand for excellence, not populism. So Nick believes in, I would say Nick believes in the, experts, but he just thinks there's an objective truth and we should all know who the experts are.
I didn't grow up in that. It's not my scene. And I don't think there's anything objectively good about it. I think people retreat to that because it's where they feel comfortable and it's familiar. But I don't think there's anything to be proud of with that sort of thing. When people are dressed like that and they go out in the mud and go, woo, woo, with beer and everything. And it's like, I have no affinity for that. And you can call that snobbish. Well, I think snobbery is a good thing. I think that snobbishness is standards. It's giving like when people say you're a Karen. And I defend Karens. Karens are the enforcers of standards. We would have no standards if it wasn't for Karens. Because nobody would care. If nobody said anything, when these standards fell, then they would fall. If you went to a restaurant or whatever and there was no person there, whether it be a white woman or whoever, to say, hey, I'm paying for this. I expect a certain level of service. I expect this, this, and this. Well, then you're going to get less. It's oppositional. And of course, people say, oh, you're a Karen. And what they mean is if you care about standards, you're a shrill, you're a snob,
So that's the clip there. The reason I say that is if we had Neuralink, let's think about this. Fast forward a couple decades and we have Neuralink and it's often popping and it's basically a cell phone in your brain. Basically a computer, a Mac Mini, some type of computer in your brain. I think more people would have the ability to filter through with logic these topics. You wouldn't have the ability to say, I don't know about this thing. You wouldn't have the ability to say, oh, I didn't hear the clip about Joe Biden talking about getting the prosecutor, Victor Shokin, fired. Because you would have all that in your brain. Oh, you never heard of it? Just take a second. You could read, how fast does ChatGPT read articles? You could read a 300-page bill. I put a lot of long bills in there through using extensions. You can have it read PDFs, and I put 300-page bills in there, and it does it in like a minute, two, like a minute. So if you're like, oh, I never heard, you said Joe Biden bragged about getting the prosecutor fired. I never heard about that. And then you'd be like, okay, well, I'll give you a minute. Now you have. Now that you've read the article within a minute, talk to me. Now, it's a very simplified thing because if we got to that place, it would gradually get there. But you see what I mean? Oh, Nick Fuentes is this or that? Oh, okay. Well, here's a I'm gonna Bluetooth you mind to mind a link from me to you. Hey, watch a few of his videos. Tell me what you think objectively. You see, it could bring objectivity, logic back into play, especially with the, I argue there's 80% of people who are normies. And if they hear Nick Fuentes is a white supremacist or he's this or that, they will believe it. And I don't blame them. They don't watch the news. They trust the sources. But what if they could, within minutes, literally 2 minutes, watch, 10 episodes of Nick's show, absorb the information, watch it. Not only that, understand it very quickly. And then it's a lot harder to lie about things. So I think because first of all, the people with money are going to get the chips first because they don't want to fall behind. But as everybody gets the chips, I think the gap between knowledge and awareness, because right now we have a big knowledge and awareness gap, there's no excuse for it. If everybody gets the chip, basically it's going to become a cell phone. Everybody gets the chip just like a cell phone. You'll be able to have access to that information. Maybe it's not that simple because we all have a cell phone now, but it's still difficult to get that. It's still difficult. Now, what they'll try to do is control it like they do with the cell phone, of course. But I think it will be difficult to control. That's why they're having these AI meetings. They're scared about that. They're not scared about AI running the world like a episode of X-Files. That classic episode of X-Files where in the first season where they talked about AI. That was back in I think the first episode was early 90s maybe. They talked about AI controlling a building where they tried to make the elevator fall and kill Mulder and Scully and try to do all this stuff. It was AI controlling the cameras. That show was so far ahead of its time. Taco says it could also make you docile to prevent a revolution. Yep, we're going to see that. There's going to be some risk. Alter memories. So you're going to be able to recall, and thank you, Celestial Wolf, Eva, it's been a minute. Thank you for stopping by. The chat says alter memories. Absolutely. If you would have photographic memory, but if you're connected to the internet or the motherlord base, which is Elon or whoever else, the World Economic Forum, they could alter your memories. They could alter history and say, white people did this, black people did that. I think they could. So there's always risk, but I still think this is the tool that could. It's not going to be automatic, but it could bring forth the revolution. If you see what I mean, the information literally would be at your fingertips. A lot harder to hide. People say that social credit scores are a myth, conspiracy theory. Well, let me read this story. You might have heard UK government aims to cancel Russell Brand. This is through Mario Narwhal on X. The British government sent a letter to TikTok and Rumble. Rumble said, we will not comply. Props to them. We'll see how long they'll be able to keep that up. But props to them for doing it. Very big supporter of Rumble. Let me just, while I'm saying that, let me just double check. Is anybody on the Rumble stream? Yeah, Surge Times is. So thank you. And let me just do a quick shout out on the Rumble. Can't trust Elon. Surge Times on Rumble says, can't trust Elon. He supported the Nazis in Ukraine. Yeah, he did. I had to think about that for a second. Yeah, he did with Starlink. Elon is from South Africa. Did his family follow the rat lines there? Are they former Nazis? I don't know. That's a fair questions, but I have no idea. But thank you, Surge Times. The British government sent that letter, and they're asking. You see the problems here? This is the UK, but we know YouTube demonetized him, so this is pertinent to the United States. And why is every government doing the same thing? Nobody finds that bizarre. So the UK sent a letter, and in the letter, they didn't ask TikTok or anybody to demonetize him, but they just asked. That's that relationship. That's a conflict of interest. It says, this guy that has this controversy going on, that man-made controversy from at least the media. Like, there's no charges. It's not like there's a court case. Not like he's been found guilty. It's through a he said, she said media storm. Is he able to make profit from his content on the platform? So that's a question they're asking for the answer to, that we all know they know the answer to that. And we all know what they want from that. So, we're right now, the U.S. government could have sent that same message to X, YouTube, every company. We would not know. We wouldn't know. We would have no idea. This implies that they are directly in the UK targeting Brand and attempting to fully deplatform him. The trial has not even started. Wait, has he even had charges? I don't even know how their court system works there, but I don't think he's even been charged. The trial has not even been started, but the government is participating in the court of public opinion to cancel someone who hasn't been to court. Do you see that as a war? What do you do in war? You want to cut off the money. You want to cut off people's money supply. Since when did the media become judge, jury, and executioner? It's getting out of control. And here's the letter here. Director of Government Relations Europe to TikTok. I'm writing concerning the serious allegations. This is kind of funny because TikTok is ruled by the CCP, and so is the UK, so is America. So when they go to TikTok, they're really going to the CCP, in my opinion. So it's like you're brown nosing. That's all you're doing. You're not even threatening. It's not even a real threat. It's a brown nose. The culture, media, sport, raising questions. While we recognize that TikTok is not the creator of the content published by Mr. Brand, and his content may be within the community guidelines set by the platform, that's an odd thing to admit. We are concerned that he may be able to profit from his content on the platform. So my bigger take isn't even to talk about Russell Brand. My biggest takeaway from that was, no, they're totally not going to do a social credit score. Oh, they would never do that. That would be way out of line. This isn't anything like this is nothing like a social credit score. They would never do that. There's no chance. That's a conspiracy theory. I mean, what they're basically doing is a social credit score, obviously. No, don't believe that. That would never happen. They would never want to do what they're doing to Russell Brand to anybody else. Who knows if the allegations are true or not? Megyn Kelly went on a rant on that. She went ham on it. And I actually did not appreciate her rant on it. I understand what she's saying because it does make me cringe when people are saying, hey, Russell Brand didn't do anything. That does make me cringe. So I will agree with her from that standpoint. But in her rant, I think she went too far. Maybe I'm just off. Let me show the video. I think this came through from Nate the Lawyer, I think, is the one that had this blow up and went viral. This clipped Megyn Kelly. And this is her.
By so many.
Let me bring it back to the beginning.
Tell you guys, I realize that the knee-jerk instinct now by so many is Russell Brand is wrongly accused. These women are all liars. I'm sorry, this is extremely detailed.
Just to be clear, that's not my take. I'm not saying that he's completely, what did she say?
Knee-jerk instinct now by so many is Russell Brand is wrongly accused. These women.
Just to be clear, that's not my take. My take is I don't know. And my take is I don't know, and it doesn't change when Russell Brand was right. And if it is accurate, if there's something really illegal there, I'm not digging into that too much more. Then if it's worth prosecuting, it should be prosecuted. But I'm not saying I know either way with Russell Brand. But we do know that there is a government hit job on him. He hasn't done anything illegal at this point, hasn't been charged or convicted of anything. Why is YouTube demonetizing him? So that's a separate topic.
Women are all liars. I'm sorry, this is extremely detailed. And in the case of the other woman, there's an actual set of medical records after she went to a rape crisis center the day of the alleged encounter, plus apologetic, begging for forgiveness text from Russell Brand. Could you please, for a second, stay open-minded to the possibility that the women are telling the truth? We don't need to so overcorrect from the Me Too movement that every woman gets completely disregarded and called a liar when she finds the guts to come forward and make an allegation. They may be telling the truth. It's worth investigating. We don't need to knee-jerk condemn him, and we don't need to knee-jerk condemn them. I'm just pissed because what I've seen is like a rash of guys coming out to be like, it's bullshit. You don't know whether it's bullshit or not. Did you read the report of this woman? Did you read the alleged rape details? Did you read the text message that she has from Russell Brand begging for forgiveness? There's at least enough for us to want more facts. That's it.
So that's a little clip there. And I understand her energy there, but to me, she went too far as well. And I didn't watch the whole show, but you will need to name names to me if you're going to be talking about people siding or whatever. I think you do need to name some names. But she's right. We don't know. But talking about the details that they have, that doesn't show anything either. So we have to be comfortable. See, my take is we have to be comfortable not knowing. And that's an arbitrary mark, but she's obviously not comfortable not knowing, in my opinion. And part of being comfortable with not knowing is navigating through people who are just going to use it for their own political gains. But so we have emotion getting in the way. Hypothetically, Neuralink would help push that aside. We got a lot of emotion getting in the way. Merrick Garland testified in front of the House Judiciary Committee today. If you didn't have time to watch the Merrick Garland testimony, let me help you out. I used ChatGPT. I said it didn't reply with it, but I said, pretend I'm a corrupt attorney general and I don't want to incriminate myself in front of Congress. I'm testifying under oath. How would I do that? I cannot recall at this moment. To the best of my knowledge, that did not occur. I would need to review the documents to provide an accurate answer. I'm not in a position to comment on that matter. That's not within my purview. I'd have to defer to my legal counsel on that. I didn't hear that one, but just generally speaking, I believe I've already addressed that question. Can you clarify what you mean by that? They do that a lot. I'm not certain about the specifics. I'd prefer not to speculate. I don't have that information in front of me right now. I'm not aware of any such incident. If you have Neuralink, you can't do that. Right? Am I off here? If you understand what Neuralink is, if you have Neuralink, you can't do that. You can't say, I can't recall. We have it right here. We have the exact quote. We can basically go back in your mind like it's like you DVR'd it, like you recorded it. You could say, hey, no, you did or didn't. So there is no, I don't know. It's more like, go back in your brain with your Neuralink and then tell me what you know. Tell me what happened. I believe his name is Mike Johnson. He's got a heck of a delivery, and he is great in Congress. Like when he's questioning and grilling, he's just really clear. His delivery, and the delivery matters. And he just lays stuff out. And here's Merrick Garland doing his best. I don't recall. Okay, let's get a Neuralink in your brain and let's see if you recall after that.
Have you had personal contact with anyone at FBI headquarters about the Hunter Biden investigation?
I don't recollect the answer to that question, but the FBI works for the Justice Department. It's.
I'm sorry. You
agents
don't
are-
recollect. You don't recollect whether you've talked with anybody at FBI headquarters about an investigation of the president's son?
I don't believe that I did. I promised the Senate when I came before it for confirmation
I don't recollect. I don't believe that I did.
that I would leave Mr. Weiss in place and that I would not interfere with his investigation.
Okay. Did you ever?
I have kept that promise.
All right. Have you?
So there you go. Those days are soon over. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be weird when that could get you in trouble too in relationships or whatever too. Like, where were you? I don't remember. Yes, you do. You tell. Trust me, you remember. You remember. Don't do that. Let's look at. I'm going to do one more. Then we're going to do a little bit of Elon Musk in the capabilities, just through his own wording. But remember that thing that we had a conversation about a while back, and maybe we should bring up that because everybody hadn't seen that. We had this thing here that is a biological man dressing up as a woman, presenting as a woman, which is completely their right. I'm not trying to make fun or knock it, at least at this moment. I'm just describing what it is. An American citizen who is a known traitor now, in my opinion, who is a biological man dressing up as a woman, speaking on behalf of Ukraine, threatening Americans.
Russia hates the truth that their obsessive focus on a Ukrainian volunteer is simply allowing the light of the Ukrainian nation's honesty to shine brightly. Next week, the teeth of the Russian devils will gnash ever harder, and their rabid mouths will foam in uncontrollable frenzy.
I guarantee you this thing used ChatGPT for that, allegedly.
As the world will see a favorite Kremlin propagandist pay for their crimes. And this puppet of Putin is only the first. Russia's war criminal propagandists will all be hunted down, and justice will be served as we in Ukraine are led on this mission by faith in God.
Yeah. It's, okay. Let's not get stupid, okay? So you're not being led by whatever God it is not the God that I fear. Jackson Hinkle announces transgender American Junior Sergeant Sarah Ashton Carrillo has been suspended from its position. Why are you so petty, Jackson? That was petty. And I'm here for it. That's the homie. From its position, I called it a thing too. So from its position in Ukraine's Territorial Defense Force for making the comments you just heard in the video. So the American taxpayer dollars. I mean, even this was too much for the Ukrainians. This was too much for the whole corrupt process. They were like, okay, you went a little too far. American tax dollars, and most people don't even know that this happened, and they still had to backtrack off of it and suspend this person, this thing, threatened American citizens and anybody that didn't say specifically American citizens, but threatened anybody who went against the Ukraine narrative with being unlived, basically. Imprisoned, enslaved, unlived for their position, whether they're American or not. This traitor biological man trying to hide behind a woman costume, so if you criticize them, you're transphobic or something else. That's what happened. And it was so bizarre. It was so out of line. Even they had to say, let's kind of backtrack off this. I think this is getting people angry. Yeah, if you can't see this and speak out against it, then you are a slave. You have gotten to that slave status. I mean, you're right at that Black American status, self-described Black American mental slave status. If you can't speak out against that, you are locked into something that is not organic. But then let's take a look at what that slave mentality looks like in the States. How does this happen without extreme outrage from other governors or from other states, legislative bodies, governors, people? This was a thing. The same person that just threatened Americans and anyone in the world who went against the Ukraine narrative got an award?
A local reporter working on the front lines in Ukraine is gaining national attention, also getting some recognition from officials in Las Vegas as well.
Sarah Ashton Cirillo was honored for her work in Ukraine today at Las Vegas City Hall. She served as a war correspondent since March, and recently she enlisted as a combat medic, serving on the front lines with other soldiers. She originally went to Ukraine to write about the refugee crisis. Numerous lawmakers, including Governor Sisolak, Congresswoman Dina Titus, and Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, gave her certificates of recognition for her work overseas.
The reasons I'm fighting along with every other soldier are the reasons that the people in the United States and elsewhere can enjoy the lives they have here.
And this week, she also met with members of Congress and was even asked to give one of her military uniforms to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C.
A local reporter working on the front lines in Ukraine is gaining national attention, also getting some recognition from officials in Las Vegas as well.
Sarah Ashton Cirillo was honored for her work in Ukraine today at Las Vegas City Hall. She served as a war correspondent since March, and recently she enlisted as a combat medic, serving on the front lines with other soldiers. She originally went to Ukraine to write about the refugee crisis.
Well, I hope you brought
Numerous
your
lawmakers,
extinguisher,
including Governor
because this
Sisolak,
topic is a
Congresswoman Dina
dumpster
Titus,
fire.
and Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, gave her certificates of recognition for her work overseas.
This is a rough one. I'm not going to lie.
I'm fighting along with every other soldier are the reasons that the people in the United
We are
States and
absolutely
elsewhere
getting dumber
can enjoy
as a
the lives they
species.
have here.
And this week, she also met with members of Congress and was even asked to give one of her military uniforms to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C.
Of course.
A local reporter
Why not?
working on the front lines in Ukraine is gaining national attention, also getting some recognition from officials in Las Vegas as well.
Sunday morning. Ashton Cirillo was honored for her work in Ukraine today at Las Vegas City Hall. She served as a war correspondent. She originally went
hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem.
I've threatened millions of American lives who pay taxpayers or end up paying for your corruption overseas, and it's never caused a problem.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem.
In the United States and elsewhere can enjoy the lives.
No, being a traitor to your country, that's never caused a problem.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem.
In fact, it gets you an award.
A local reporter working on the front lines
It gets you an award in Las Vegas, in America.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem.
Never causes a problem. Never.
She served as a war correspondent since March, and recently she enlisted as a combat medic.
Spider sense start tingling.
Front lines with other soldiers.
when they've got trans people warmongering, trying to hide behind the identity.
Spider sense start tingling.
Is that Las Vegas? I think that thing is from Las Vegas. When Las Vegas starts giving out awards for American traitors to threaten their own citizens.
Spider sense start tingling.
People in the United States and elsewhere.
And when I talk about secession and people look at me like I'm the crazy one,
spider sense start tingling.
Even asked to give one of her military uniforms to the Smithsonian Institute.
when are we gonna get that ass whooping? They're gonna whoop our ass at this rate.
In order to prevent us from whooping your ass in the future, we have to whoop your ass right now. This is psychopathic behavior.
I'm leaving it on in the background on an infinite loop.
Where the fuck are the Joe Biden supporters? I can tell y'all why I support Trump. Tell me why y'all support this motherfucker.
She originally went to Ukraine to write about the refugee crisis.
Ain't doing shit but fucking us up every day, fucking us up.
And Senator Catherine Cortez Masto gave her certificates of
I don't see
recognition
shit.
for her work.
Anybody saying nothing. They had a whole lot of energy. They had a whole lot of energy when my motherfucking man president was in there. And everything that Trump did, I told you, I support him for this. I support him for that. I had to stand behind that shit. Every fucking day I had to stand behind why I supported President Trump. I don't hear no motherfucking body telling me why they support Joe Biden and all this goofy shit. Then when I asked my uncle about this shit, he said, Joe, do you think that I'm with that shit? Do you think I support that? Yes, you support it. If you vote...
I'm leaving it on in the background on purpose.
at Las Vegas.
These
City
people
Hall.
done lost their mind.
These people have lost. They acting like they, you know what I'm saying?
Medic serving on
You ain't my pimp, nigga.
My patience is wearing thin. I need you to get out on that boulevard and bring me my money. You ain't my pimp, nigga. What the hell is wrong with these people?
Zelensky come through. I need another 40 billion from y'all, or it's gonna be World War III. All right, then it's gonna be World War III, and I won't be involved. You ain't my pimp, nigga.
My patience is wearing thin. I need you to get out on that boulevard and bring me my money. You ain't my pimp, nigga. What the hell is wrong with these people?
You're gonna have to go find some other Beyonce song to put on some high heels and dance to, my nigga. That's not, that topic is not even funny. That is not a funny. That is not a lighthearted topic, but that's where we are. I'm gonna leave out with just a couple clips here from. I'm gonna play the Joe Rogan. This is. Oh wait, I actually forgot. I forgot. No, I have to do this one. I forgot. I have a list of like different ones, and I skip them if I don't feel like doing them. This one I do feel like doing. So Zelensky, maybe I should. Well, Zelensky was talking about climate change. I'm not going to play that clip because I think this ad here. I'm showing the ad that has Greta Thunberg, or however you pronounce her name, Thunberg, whatever the hell her name is. This is a real ad. I did confirm this. When I first saw it, I was like, "There's no way this is real. This is like a Photoshop or something." And I think this is actually for. I think this was promoting the vaccine. It's hard to find information on this photo. There's information on it. I think it's written in Swedish or something like. I don't know what language it's written in, and I didn't have time to translate it and look at it. There's a lot to unpack here from Greta, and I guess she's an adult in this. She looks like she's 12, but it looks like a man, so it's a dark skin, probably my complexion, standing with a hood on, a black sweater with the left arm kind of rolled up above the elbow, with a drawstring sweater, right arm hugging up on Greta Thunberg in a unnatural way, in I would argue a sensual way. Like why would you hold somebody in that way? That's not your child, or it's not like a family member type way. And this nigga, whoever it is, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, is wearing a white ski mask. There's a lot to unpack here. And this is a random, it's an old photo. I'd never seen it before, but in the grand scheme of history, it's not old. It's just from years ago, I think. And then Greta Thunberg is standing there with her arms crossed, and they're both kind of wearing all black. It's like a black and white photo, so you don't know what color they're wearing, but it looks like black because it's black and white. And Greta's young. This person seems to be much taller than Greta. And the replies kind of said it all. It's troubling. What is that? Joey Manorino said she's becoming acquainted with the British Broadcasting Channel. It's crazy, Dom Luker says. I was going to say BBC did the photo shoot. Somebody replied to me when I retweeted that. I said, this is weird. Like really weird. This is the definition of weird right here. Somebody replied to me, could you imagine the photographer of this piece? I'm not even sharing it. I'm not even sharing the piece. This is the piece. Well, I was describing it for the podcast, so this is perfect. This is the piece. It's kind of cool. I did I described it for the podcast, and I did the reveal. I'm not setting up I'm getting lazy. I'm not setting up my monitors to watch what I'm doing. So that's the piece that I described to you. It looks so. Somebody replied to me, could you imagine in the photo shoot, the photographer is saying, could you look a little bit more rapey? You're not looking creepy enough. I think they were trying to promote the vaccine. Seriously. Vaccine, climate change, BLM, BBC, whatever. If we had Neuralink If my wife had Neuralink, I had Neuralink, I could just Bluetooth her. She doesn't know anything about this stuff that's going in Ukraine. And I could just say, hey, real quick, let me Bluetooth you this clip. You good with that? She'd probably be like, nah, this is kind of crazy. Now Bluetooth, hey, they gave that same thing an award. You good with that? How easy would it be? How much easier it would be? I mean, you could text now, but I think it's if you could just Bluetooth to somebody and just within a second they see it, that's even quicker, less latency. I don't know. That's the last one I wanted to talk about. The real reason I want to talk about it is because if I don't talk about it on this live, I'm not coming back to it. I'm not going tomorrow because I just saw that today. I'm not revisiting that topic tomorrow. So that's why I really wanted to do that. Elon Musk was on Rogan a while back, and Rogan did a great job trying to get information out of Musk. And here's how it sounded. He started off saying, hey, how did you have this much time to really do all these different companies and everything? I know Ray Studio's seen this.
Holes under the ground in LA and come up with these ideas and then implement them. Like,
I got a million ideas.
I'm sure you do.
There's no shortage of that. Yeah.
I just don't know how you manage your time. I don't understand it. It doesn't even seem humanly possible.
You know, I do basically. I think people like don't totally understand what I do with my time. They think like I'm a business guy or something like that. Like my Wikipedia page says business magnate.
What would you call yourself?
I'm a business magnet. Can someone please change my Wikipedia page to magnet?
They'll change it right now.
Please
It's probably already changed.
It's locked. So somebody has to be able to unlock it and change it to magnet.
Someone will get
I want
that.
to be a magnet. No, I do engineering and and manufacturing and that kind of thing. That's like 80% or more of my time.
Ideas and then the implementation of those ideas.
That's like hardcore engineering, like designing things,
First principle thinking. That's what he does.
Structural, mechanical, electrical, software, user interface, engineering, aerospace engineering.
So you can see how the World Economic Forum swoops in and says, Elon's the great visionary at leading people through those. You can't just get a great head coach. You've got a great head coach. You can't just fire him. People say, well, they could just fire Elon and the companies would still go. Yeah, they would still go, but it's not the same as Elon. Where would Apple be if Steve Jobs was still around? Apple would be at the forefront. Apple would be competing with Tesla. Tesla would be Apple. Steve Jobs would have had an electric car. He's the visionary. Tim Cook isn't visionary. So that's the difference. It's a huge difference.
You must understand there's not a whole lot of human beings like you. You know that, right? So you're an oddity.
Seems, yes.
To chimps like me.
We're all chimps.
Yeah, we are.
We're one notch above a chimp.
Transitioning to chimps. I did not see the super chat. Super chat, Cyan, hopefully you're still in the live. What if you both get Neuralinks and in less than 24 hours she blocks you? Cyan's like, what if we both? And that's absolutely true. What if my wife and we both got Neuralinks, and because I can transform this, get this information, maybe you'd have to make a request. Like you could basically read somebody's mind, so you'd have to have a block. I think he talks about it in this clip. I don't know if I'll get to it because it's getting late, but you could basically read somebody's mind. You could communicate telepathically through Bluetooth. But you would have to ask for requests. Yeah, your brain would be hackable. Your body would be hackable. You could hack me. If I had Neuralink right now, somebody could say, I don't like this funny looking dude talking about what he's talking about. I'll make him smack himself like this. And you'd be like, damn, what happened? And you just like, I can't stop. Like that could literally happen. Don Jr. got hacked. John Jr. got hacked on X yesterday, and his account said something based like, it said something like, paraphrasing, F Joe Biden, I hate that nigga. real X, and I quote tweeted it, I was like, based. But it's the same thing. You could hack somebody's X account, you could hack their brain and have them say something crazy. But what Cyan's right is you should have a blocker, and then maybe you could block. I did this thing. Nick was on We Are Here, and people still talk about this episode. It's such a good it was such a good episode. I don't think it's on YouTube anymore. I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. But Sydney Watson and him kind of clashed respectfully. It was a great episode. Eric July was on that one too. But they clashed, and Sydney Watson was kind of giving him very respectfully the heat. She's not out of line ever, and Nick had to take it, and it just reminded me of like my face when my wife says we need to talk, and it just reminded me what you super chat. Thanks for your super chat, Cyan. This reminded me of that. Look at Nick's face if you're watching on the video. I'll describe it for podcasters.
So how are you telling other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had any actual physical, interaction with them in a romantic capacity, or in fact in any capacity where you uphold them in a way that treats them with respect? I mean, if you're out here arguing that women are basically half the value of, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, in fact, because that's not right. But, if you are looking to some other regimes around the world that do think that women are half the value of a man, I have to question what kind of a person who's had no experience with women is in a position to basically promote these ideas.
Well, I'm having an experience with a woman right now.
So how are you telling
So we'll play it again and describe it. So Nick is getting he's trying to wait for Sydney, and he's very good at this in debates. He doesn't interrupt typically. And he's waiting for Sydney Watson to be done just reaming him, because right before this, he had said something to the effect of he respected how one of those, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, one of those countries treated women. So that's what triggered her to go on this rant. I remember this episode. I've seen it like 5 times because it's just so good.
other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had any actual physical, interaction with?
She has a point there. She has a point. But Nick says later on, well, I'm having an interaction with a woman right now. And it's not pleasant. So Nick has a look on his face where he's like, okay, I know where you're going. Let me talk.
So how are you telling other people how to behave towards women when you yourself have not had any actual physical, interaction with them in a romantic capacity? Or, in fact...
So he's about to talk and he's like, it's going to be worse if I interrupt. So he just does a little sigh. So he's like not defeated, but just like exasperated here. Just like,
when you yourself have not had any actual physical, interaction with them in a romantic capacity, or in fact in any capacity where you uphold them in a way that treats them with respect. I mean, if you're out here arguing that women are basically half the value of, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, in fact, because that's not right. But if you...
So Nick laughs at that when she says you're arguing women are half the value. Nick's probably like, knowing his philosophy, Nick's probably like more like 1/16, but I'll let you go with half.
We're out here arguing that women are basically half the value of, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, in fact, because that's not right. But, if you are looking to some other regimes around the world that do think that women are half the value of a man, I have to question what kind of a person who's had no experience with women is in a position to basically promote these ideas.
Well, I'm having an experience with a woman right now.
So how are you telling other people how to...
And yet you
love
still have
that
time
clip.
to dig
Let's go back to this one.
holes under the ground in LA and come up with these ideas and then like, what's up with these boring dumb motherfuckers? Ever?
Not bad for a human, but I think we'll not be able to hold a candle to AI.
So
you
here-
scare the shit out of me when
So here's where we're talking about AI in general.
you talk about AI. Between you and Sam Harris. I
Oh,
didn't
sure.
even consider it until I had a podcast with Sam once.
Sounds
and
great.
He made me shit my pants.
Sam's not great, by the way, but we'll continue on. This was 2018, though, so things weren't as crazy as they are now.
Talking about AI, I realized, like, oh, well, this is a genie that once it's out of the bottle, you're never getting it back in.
That's true.
There was a video that you tweeted about one of those Boston Dynamic robots. And you're
Yeah.
like...
So that's true, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So once AI is out there, it's out there. That means it's you want to talk about not equal outcome, but maybe it is equity. If you want to talk about getting an equitable playing field, more equitable playing field, if you want to use the term equity, that's what it would happen when AI spills out. The people who try to control us now, they won't be able to control it. That's my take on it.
Consider it until I had a podcast with Sam once.
Sounds
and
great.
He made me shit in regards to the future.
Yes, it's less of a worry than it used to be, mostly due to taking more of a fatalistic attitude.
So you used to have more hope, and you gave up some of it, and now you don't worry as much about AI. You're like, this is just what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, yes. Yes, no, but no, it's not necessarily bad. It's just, it's definitely going to be outside of human control.
This is one of, if you don't know, I've watched a lot of Elon Musk interviews, and a lot of them, like one of the more recent ones was Zuby, and nothing against Zuby. Zuby's great, but it was more kind of like a fluff. It wasn't anything. This one right here is probably one of the best, most authentic interviews you'll ever hear Elon Musk in. He'll tell you a lot of what he believes in just speeches, not even interviews, but this one was on a deeper level.
Necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just outside of human control. Now,
That's not a bad thing. It kind of reminds me of shutting down the government. I said, shut it down. That could cause economic problems for me, you, every state in the union. I don't care. It's time to shut it down. And what do you have for demands? Make specific demands, very tight, specific, and say that's why we're shutting it down. I think the number one thing, you could do free speech. I think these are above. Immigration is a problem, illegal immigration, but even above that, free speech, and then the weaponization of the government and states. Shut it down. And you can't fully control it, because even if you say, hey, Michigan, you got to drop the charges against the Michigan 16. You got to drop all the charges against the J6ers and pardon all of them. Yeah, it sounds a lot like blackmail, but it's legal. And they can do that. There's nothing illegal about people in Congress sitting out and saying, that's what I want to see happen, and then I'll vote for appropriations or continuing resolution. There's nothing illegal about that. So politics is rough. And that's a peaceful act. It's an act of defense. Drop the charges, and we'll work. Maybe then we'll work on funding the government. Still no money to Ukraine or something like that too. But maybe you might have to do, okay, we'll just keep doing money to Ukraine, as cringe as that sounds. If you can say drop the charges, now they could refile charges. That wouldn't be the end all be all, but that would be to me a legitimate statement of saying, we're dropping it. Don't call my phone until you're ready to drop the charges against every J6er, pardon every J6er, because even if they did violent things, they were part of a entrapment, no different than the Whitmer crap. And then Michigan 16, Georgia 19, the federal charges against Grandpappy Don, all of them dropped. Clear demand. That's what we need to see. Do that, then we'll talk about the funding the government. Shut it all down. That's what I look at when you say AI. Oh, AI will be out of control. And I think we need something that is out of control, out of the reach of the people who are trying to control us.
Out of human control.
Not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just outside of human control. Now, the thing that's going to be tricky here is that
when you say it's outside of human control, that means the people who are trying to control us, maybe Ray, talks about the 13 families or whoever else. I don't even know if it's them, but China, WEF, whoever, Union, Foreign Council, Foreign Relations, all of them. The AI will be above them. It's out of control. We want that.
It's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon.
It is a weapon. Like that'd be like saying it's very tempting to use a gun as a weapon. When it is a weapon. Words are weapons too, in a way, not physically, but yeah.
It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon.
Yeah, it already is.
So the on-ramp to serious AI, the danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely.
Yeah.
That'll be the danger.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far do you think we are from something that can make its own mind up, whether or not something's ethically or morally correct, or whether or not it wants to do something, or whether or not it wants to improve itself, or whether or not it wants to protect itself from people
Sentient.
or from other AI? How far away are we from something that's really, truly sentient?
Well, I mean, you could argue that any group of people, like a company is essentially a cybernetic collective of people and machines. That's what a company is. And then there's different levels of complexity in the way these companies are formed. And then there's this sort of like a collective AI in the Google sort of search, where we're all sort of plugged in as like nodes on the network, like leaves on a big tree. And we're all feeding this network with our questions and answers. We're all collectively programming the AI. And and Google plus all the humans that connect to it are one giant cybernetic collective. This is also true of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these social networks. They're giant cybernetic collectives.
Humans and electronics all interfacing and constantly connected.
Yes.
He didn't answer the question though.
One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot over the last few years is that
it sounds like to me the answer was we're already there technically, or the answer was how would we know? It's not possible to know because it's like a baby. It's like maybe it's like a zygote already.
One of the things that drives a lot of people crazy is how many people are obsessed with materialism and getting the latest, greatest thing. And I wonder how much of that is, well, a lot of it is most certainly fueling technology and innovation. And it almost seems like it's built into us. It's like what we like and what we want, that we're fueling this thing that's constantly around us all the time. And it doesn't seem possible that people are going to pump the brakes. It doesn't seem possible at this stage when we're constantly expecting the newest cell phone, the latest Tesla update, the newest MacBook Pro. Everything has to be newer and better. And that's going to lead to some incredible point. And it seems like it's built into us. It almost seems like it's an instinct that we're working towards this, that we like it.
Mm-hmm.
That our job, just like the ants build the ant.
Well, you said that it's a weapon, so of course everyone's going to look for the bigger, most baddest weapon. At one point it was nuclear weapon. That's like the 2A of geopolitics. And now this is maybe more powerful because you have a nuclear weapon, you kind of devastate land. And that's almost a defensive stance. I used to play StarCraft, and one of the people that you would use in StarCraft, they were the humans, the Terrans. And they would have a little man that could put a red dot and then say, hey, this is where I want to drop a nuke. But it wasn't aggressive. It wasn't an offensive. It was more defensive. Because you drop a nuke, you kind of wipe out the area. You got to really clear it out before you can build on it. You don't just wipe it out. It's better if you could just control the people in the area. So AI, in a way, to me, is more aggressive, more powerful. TikTok. I mean, I can make the argument that TikTok is more powerful than a nuclear weapon. It's more effective, more efficient. It's a different type of weapon, so maybe you can't compare them. But if you can manipulate a population into, let's say, having more divorces or changing all the military-age men, changing as much of them as possible into gay, trans, believing whatever the Democrat Party says, and you control the Democrat Party. That's more powerful. You can get them to take down statues of Thomas Jefferson. You couldn't go to China and get them to take down whatever statues they got of people. That's more power. A nuke would just wipe out the area, then it would be unlivable for, what's the point of that? I mean, you could still do it, but it's more of a defense mechanism, more of a threat that I can do it, not that it's practical for me to do it. Cyan, $2 super chat, thank you, says AI isn't necessarily the problem by itself, but AGI. So what's AGI again? Is that graphic interface you talking about? Let me double check, sorry. AGI, I'm not sure. Artificial general intelligence? What's the difference? Artificial general intelligence is a hypothetical form of artificial intelligence that could learn and think like a human. Okay, I see. AGI would have the ability to understand, learn, and apply knowledge. So do we not have that now? Because to me, it seems like, I don't know what's the threshold when you get to that. ChatGPT is learning. It's clunky. It's not, fully there. It's not sentient or anything, but I mean, that's the path. But great comment. Thank you, Cyan, for the $2 super chat.
Hill. Our job is to somehow or another fuel this.
Yes. I mean, when I made this comment some years ago, but it feels like we are the biological bootloader for AI, effectively. We are building it. And then we're building progressively greater intelligence. And the percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence. But the AI is informed, strangely, by the human limbic system. It is, in large part, our id writ large.
How so?
We mentioned all those things, the sort of primal drives.
Mm-hmm.
There's all things that we like and hate and fear. They're all there on the internet. They're a projection of our limbic system.
Mm-hmm. Sex, violence, just fear, those are all, that's what the Democrat Party basically rules on, is the limbic system. All those emotional, instinctual things used against you as weapons. That's the mass formation psychosis type of argument.
It's true.
No, it makes sense. And the thinking of it as thinking of corporations and just thinking of just human beings communicating online through these social media networks as some sort of an organism it's a cyborg. It's a combination. It's a combination of electronics and biology.
Yeah.
This is
in some measure, like, it's the success of these online systems is sort of a function of how much limbic resonance they're able to achieve with people. The more limbic resonance, the more engagement.
Whereas, like, one of the reasons why probably Instagram is more enticing than Twitter.
Limbic resonance.
Yeah, you get more images, more video.
Yes.
It's tweaking your system more.
Yes.
Do you worry about or wonder, in fact, about what the next step is? I mean, a lot of people didn't see Twitter coming, that, communicate with 140 characters or 280 now would be a thing that people would be interested in. Like, it's going to excel. It's going to become more connected to us, right?
Yes, things are getting more and more connected. They're, at this point, constrained by bandwidth. Our input-output is slow, particularly output. Output got worse with thumbs. We used to have input with 10 fingers, now we have thumbs. But images are also they're a way of communicating at high bandwidth. You take pictures and you send pictures to people. That
That's
communicates
memes.
far more information than you can.
Memes. That's what we talk about. I mean, the famous saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's not just a saying, that's actually true. And why did the memesters destroy the DeSantis campaign? How did they do that? Why did they do that? Well, not why, but how did they do that? They basically did it with just pictures. And then on top of that, they string together their strategy of memes and pictures, and they put music to it. The music communicates through and hits through and cuts through deeper than a lot of other things can. That's a very important take there. And I can give you some actually examples of that. This is Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication. What a great song this is. What a wonderful, amazing song. You ever listen to the lyrics? This is music cutting through right here.
Ever actually listen to the lyrics of the song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Californication, which was, keep in mind, written almost 25 years ago.
Psychic spies from China try to steal your mind's elation. 25 years ago. And little girls from Sweden dream of BBC and silver screen quotation. It's the edge of the world and all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in a final location. Pay your surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin, or is this that war you're waging? reading it for people on the podcast. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. So few words, more powerful than any 3-hour live you could do rambling on at 2 a.m. Born and raised by those who praise control of population. Well, everybody's been there, and I don't mean no vacation. Where are we going with this, Flea? The Island. That's music. That's not a meme, but it's the same type of thing. Let's look at the memesters. Miguelifornia. It's funny. Californication. Miguelifornia just dropped a new DeSantis diss, and it's funny, and it's powerful, and it's more powerful than any speech DeSantis can give. I mean, I'm sorry that it hurts your feelings, but this is more powerful than anything Ron DeSantis can say.
Very serious song, Rob. Stop picking your nose, man. Yeah, like that. Casey and I had another fight. She's blaming me that we're in 5th place. I'm trying not to cry, 'cause I'll rub my face. Don't rub your face, man. I miss Guantanamo. I can't stand my wife. My team of clowns I can't replace. I've ruined my life. It's gonna be okay, Rob. No, it's not. Come on. Everybody rubs their nose, it's not a crime. The perfect snot I'm always trying to find. I dig real deep and then I'll shake your hand. Oh no, 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 I'm the booger man. You even laughed. Booger man, Casey's mad again and I'm all alone. Oh my God. Stay serious. I wish it was 2018 again, when people like me and Donald Trump was my friend. How my only joy is picking my nose. Oh no, 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 'cause I'm the booger man. Booger man, it's lonely on the bus and I'm all alone. Come on, Rob.
Bruh, the ad-libs are too savage.
Everybody rubs their nose and it's not a crime.
Oh, wow.
If it's not, I'm always trying to find.
Bruh.
Rob, you're the booger man. Stop it. 2024. Peace.
Oh my God. You watched this whole live. I've been babbling on for whatever amount of time. I guarantee you remember that song more than anything that I've ever said. That song right there, if you heard it, whether you're a DeSantis person or not. And they just out here just complete. That's a meme. It's a lyrical, it's a song, it's a parody, but it's the same concept. How many words did he use? I could write an article that's 1,000 words and it doesn't pierce anywhere 1/1,000,000th of the piercing that does. Really all just making fun of the mistake that Ron DeSantis made by running. That was a mistake. It's just a weird quirk. He's not a social person. He might be on the autistic scale or whatever, allegedly. He doesn't like people and he has nervous tics. I mean, a lot of people do, and he just always is It's just a nervous tick. He doesn't have snot. And even just watching that, I'm kind of conscious of like, am I touching my face or snot? You know, that's the power. And that's what Elon was talking about right before I got sidetracked again.
And yet you still have time to dig holes under the ground in LA and come up with these ideas.
Slow, particularly output. Output got worse with thumbs. We used to have input with 10 fingers, now we have thumbs. But images are also they're a way of communicating at high bandwidth. You take pictures and you send pictures.
That song was communicating at high bandwidth. It communicated a lot without having to say a lot. And then also stuck in your memory.
Just people. That communicates far more information than you can communicate with your thumbs.
So what happened with you where you decided or you took on a more fatalistic attitude? Like, what was there any specific thing, or was it just the inevitability of our future?
He's drunk and high, I think. So
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years.
This seems like a scene in a movie where the robots could fucking take over and you're freaking me out. Nobody listened.
Nobody listened.
No one. Are people more inclined to listen today?
I can't buy that from Elon. Because obviously Elon is way smarter than me. Obviously that's impossible, Elon. The government is not God. He doesn't believe in God. And that's a problem. That's a reoccurring, and he can do whatever he wants, but that's why he's off. That's why he's like, oh, the government has to regulate it. The government isn't God. They can't regulate what people do. They can try to do laws and all that, but you can't stop someone from advancing technology.
Seems like an issue that's brought up more often over the last few years than it was maybe 5-10 years ago. It seemed like science fiction.
Maybe they will. So far they haven't.
To my knowledge, there's no quote from the Bible that says, you know what? There's going to be things that happen on earth that you're going to need the government to handle for you. No, it's saying here's good or bad. You trust in me. That's why I'm open-minded to being wrong and looking at the mark of the beast, and it was a great place to start. But there's no government regulating that, oh, the government's going to make it okay. They're going to pass a law, and then that's going to make it all better. We're going to pass a Civil Rights Act of 1964, and that's going to make everything all better.
I think people don't, normally the way that regulations work is very slow indeed. So
he's going to talk about seatbelts.
Usually there'll be some new technology.
I think he talks about seatbelts there. Let me fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
But regulating AI is not going to be like regulating seatbelts, like you have to wear a seatbelt. That's not going to work.
Well, that's the scenario. The emerged scenario with AI is the one that seems like probably the best.
For us.
Yes.
I agree with
that. If
that.
you can't beat it, join it.
I agree 100% with that. He's saying that if we don't put the chip in our brain, then AI will just completely dominate us because we won't be able to have a chip in our brain to communicate with it or think as fast as it does.
That's
yeah.
So from a long-term existential standpoint, that's like the purpose of Neuralink, is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI. Because we have a bandwidth problem. You just can't communicate through your fingers. It's too slow.
And where's Neuralink at right now?
What that means, before he answers that, is if I want to type to the chat, hey, I'm thinking about wrapping up in 5 minutes, it would be better if I could just send a Bluetooth signal to everybody. 5 minutes, I'm wrapping up, and I don't have to. It'll be quicker. You won't even. You just think it, and I'd send it to you instead of having to type it out. That's latency, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're competing against AI that has little to no nanoseconds, you're way slow.
I think we'll have something interesting to announce in a few months. That's at least an order of magnitude better than anything else. I think better than probably anyone thinks is possible.
How much?
He uses order of magnitude a lot. All that means is a multiple of 10. So if you have $10, an order of magnitude is $100. Another one is 1,000. But it's just a significant leap, is what he's saying.
Can you talk about that right now?
I don't want to jump the gun on that.
But what's like the ultimate What's the idea behind it? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with it? Like, what would you like, best case scenario?
I think best case scenario, we effectively merge with AI, where AI serves as a tertiary cognition layer, where we've got the limbic system, kind of the primitive brain essentially. We've got the cortex. So you're currently in a symbiotic relationship. Your cortex and limbic system are in a symbiotic relationship. And generally people like their cortex and they like their limbic system. I haven't met anyone who wants to delete their limbic system or delete their cortex. Everybody seems to like both. And the cortex is mostly in service to the limbic system. People may think that the thinking part of themselves is in charge, but it's mostly their limbic system that's in charge. And the cortex is trying to make the limbic system happy. That's what most of that computing power is oriented towards. How can I make the limbic system happy?
Basically, he's saying you think with your reproductive needs. Let's just be kind or generous or soft in the statement. We think with fight or flight. That's the part that rules us. The other part of the brain is just trying to make that part happy.
That's what it's trying to do. Now, if we do have a third layer, which is the AI extension of yourself, that is also symbiotic. And there's enough bandwidth between the cortex and the AI extension of yourself such that the AI doesn't de facto separate, then that could be a good outcome. That could be quite a positive outcome for the future.
That's exactly what I was talking about with the lack of being able to control the emotion. Now, that would make us more Android-like. Yeah.
So instead of replacing us, it will radically change our capabilities.
Yes, it will enable anyone who wants to have superhuman cognition. Anyone who wants. This is not a matter of earning power, because your earning power would be vastly greater after you do it. So it's just like anyone who wants can just do it, in theory. That's the theory. And if that's the case, then, and let's say billions of people do it, then the outcome for humanity will be the sum of human will, the sum of billions of people's desire for the future.
It's populism.
And
But
that
billions of people with enhanced cognitive ability, radically
Yes,
enhanced.
yes.
And
What is populism? My definition is distributing power to as many people as possible. Nothing does that better, probably, than artificial intelligence, potentially.
which would be, how much different than people today? Like if you had to
It's a
explain
human,
it
different human.
to a person who didn't really understand what you were saying, like how much different are you
Oh,
talking
way
about?
different.
When you say radically improved, like what do you mean? You mean mind reading?
It would be
Do you mean-
difficult, it would be difficult to really appreciate the difference. It's kind of like, how much smarter are you with a phone or computer than without?
It's
You're
even
vastly
more
smarter, actually. You can answer any question. If you connect to the internet, you can answer any question pretty much instantly, any calculation. Your phone's memory is essentially perfect. You can remember flawlessly. Your phone can remember videos, pictures, and everything perfectly. Your phone is already an extension of you. You're already a cyborg. Most people don't realize they are already a cyborg.
Yep.
That phone is an extension of yourself. It's just that the data rate, the rate at which, or the communication rate between you and the cybernetic extension of yourself that is your phone and computer is slow. It's very slow. And that is like a tiny straw of information flow between your biological self and your digital self. And we need to make that tiny straw like a giant river, a huge, high bandwidth interface. It's an interface problem, data rate problem. If you solve the data rate problem, then I think we can hang on to human machine symbiosis through the long term. And then people may decide that they want to retain their biological self or not. I think they'll probably choose to retain their biological self.
versus some sort of Ray Kurzweil scenario where they download themselves into a computer?
It will be essentially snapshotted into a computer at any time. If your biological self dies, you could probably just upload into a new unit. Literally.
Pass that whiskey. We're getting crazy over here.
Yeah, this got wild.
It's getting ridiculous.
Down the rabbit hole.
But that is my theory of what Elon Musk wants to do. He does not think he will be able to get to Mars in his lifetime. He doesn't know for sure. And he wants to be able to download. These people have all chased the fountain of youth. And he wants to be able to download his brain consciousness into something almost like an ice chamber or whatever and wake up later, but you just download yourself into a chip, or you'd probably be like a little data file on a phone. And, when you get to Mars, or you could upload yourself into a robot, a Tesla bot. He has Tesla robots. So you can download your consciousness, everything to a chip, put the chip in the Tesla robot, and then you can go to Mars. And you could even you could copy paste, you could have a duplicate of yourself. And then if you don't make it to Mars, you're not dead really, because you've got the duplicate on the phone. As long as somebody somehow uploads you again to another, you could be uploaded to a pig. You could be uploaded to a rhino. You could have a rhino that could understand English. You can do a brain transplant with a chip into a rhino, or you can put a rhino brain into a human. You get to some crazy stuff.
Grab that sucker. Give me some of that.
That's why Joe Rogan's like, Joe Rogan knows all this. He's like, give me some whiskey. And that's going to make Elon talk more. He's like, okay, let me get Elon talking even more.
For a long time, by the way.
I believe you have. If I was talking to one of my... Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Yeah, this is great whiskey.
Thank you. I wonder where this came from. Who brought this to us?
Trying to remember.
Somebody gave it to us. Old Camp. Whoever
It's
it was. Thanks. It's good. Yeah, it is good. This is just inevitable. Again, going back to when you decided to have this fatalistic viewpoint. So you tried to warn people. You talked about this pretty extensively. I've read several interviews where you talked about this, and then you just sort of just said, okay, it just is. Let's just... And you, in a way, by communicating the potential fear. I mean, for sure, you're getting the warning out to some people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was really going on the warning quite a lot. I was warning everyone I could. You met with Obama, and just for one reason, look.
Just talk about AI.
Yes.
And what did he say? He said, "What about Hillary? Worry about her first." Shh. Everybody be quiet.
No, he listened. He certainly listened. I met with Congress. I was at a meeting of all 50 governors and talked about just AI danger, and I talked to everyone I could. No one seemed to realize where this was going.
Is it that, or do they just assume that someone smarter than them is already taking care of it? Because when people hear about something like AI, it's almost abstract. It's almost like it's so hard to wrap your head around it. By the time it already happens, it'll be too late.
Yeah, I think they didn't quite understand it, or didn't think it was near term, or
they don't even understand TikTok. How are they going to understand AI?
Not sure what to do about it. When I say, an obvious thing to do is to just establish a government committee to gain insight.
That's the last thing we need. Another committee. Joe Biden did some type of climate core or something like that. Oh my goodness. The last thing I need is another government anything.
Before you do oversight, before you do make regulations, just try to understand what's going on. And then if you have an insight committee, then once they learn what's going on, get up to speed, then they can make maybe some rules or propose some rules. And that would be probably a safer way to go about things.
It seems, I mean, I know that it's probably something that the government's supposed to handle, but it seems like I don't want the government to handle this.
Who do you want to handle
I want you to handle this.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I feel like you're the one who could ring the bell better. Because
I agree. Let the free market handle it. Absolutely. You might need regulations in certain areas, but regulation is not going to solve any problem here with AI. First, let me know what the problem is. Let's define what the problem is before we start talking about trying to solve something.
Mike Pence starts talking about AI. I'm like, shut up, bitch. You don't know anything about AI. Come on, man. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, but I don't have the power to regulate other companies. What am I supposed to?
Right. But maybe companies could agree. Maybe there could be some sort of we have agreements where you're not supposed to dump toxic waste into the ocean. You're not supposed to do certain things that could be terribly damaging, even though they'd be profitable. Maybe this is one of those things. Maybe we should realize that you can't hit the switch on something that's going to be able to think for itself and make up its own mind as to whether or not it wants to survive or not, and whether or not it thinks you're a threat, and whether or not it thinks you're useless. Like, why do I keep this dumb, finite life form alive? Why keep this thing around? It's just stupid. It just keeps polluting everything, shitting everywhere it goes, lighting everything on fire and shooting each other. Why would I keep this stupid thing alive? Because
that was a great episode, and they didn't even get into the telepathy and all that stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I am up late. That's what 2 coffees at late at night will do for you, but I feel good. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm out. We're gonna get some sleep. I gotta get up in 4.5 hours. What are y'all doing up so late? Y'all crazy. If you want to get nuts, let's get nuts.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Peace.
Yo, this is Yay AI. I love the guy with the funny mustache. I meant this dude Osiris. Middle, mega.